So usually when I tell people that I do parkour for a living, their first impression is that I do backflips off buildings and jump around on rooftops all day. In reality, parkour is a movement discipline in which practitioners navigate through an environment, overcoming obstacles, mental and physical obstacles, as they go. This is just to give you a little bit of context. My intro to parkour was similar to most people. I saw a video of people jumping between rooftops. It wasn't until a few years later that I had the opportunity to actually try parkour for the first time, while on a college research trip to France as part of my senior thesis. My thesis was investigating the evolution of parkour in France, and so I spent a month with the original French founders outside of Paris, talking with their community, interviewing the founders, and training with them whenever I could. That month was what hooked me and was what has kept me coming back ever since. The first thing that hooked me was the idea of parkour vision. Parkour vision is a way of looking at the world through a lens in which eliminates many of the social norms that dictate how and where we move. Parkour practitioners develop an intimate awareness of their environment and how we relate to it, whether it's crawling down a sidewalk on all fours, feeling every crack beneath our hands, or developing an extensive catalog of knowledge of the different materials and surfaces that make up our cities and how each one impacts our movement. The next thing that drew me in was the parkour spirit, or heart, a mentality of embracing the obstacles that life throws at us and overcoming them one by one by one. Parkour practitioners, known as tressers, actively seek out these challenges, whether they're mental or physical, as a way to test themselves and to prove their self-worth. Mental mastery is probably most important, and comes the ability to master that fear and all those doubts that come as you're about to do a jump. And you know you can do it. You have the physical control, but it's the doubts in here that one must control. Or it's when you're about to make that jump into a new stage of life, transitioning to a new city, starting a new job, starting a business. The third thing that drew me in was the power of the parkour community. The community that I met in Paris was open, diverse, and positive. And I could see the impact that it had on its members right away. Whether it was the former tough kids that had come and become coaches in the academy eventually, or pursued performance work as far away as Las Vegas with Cirque du Soleil. Or it was the normal people that would come and use parkour as a way of fitness, but would keep coming back because it gave them a confidence that allowed them to tackle the other obstacles in their lives, many of which weren't physical. It was around this time that there was a documentary that came out in the UK called Jump Westminster. This documentary followed the introduction of youth parkour classes in a borough of London over the course of a summer. The result of this program was an astonishing 68% drop in juvenile delinquency. This statistic, combined with my experiences in Paris, inspired me to apply for a Watson Fellowship to study the potential of parkour as an agent for positive social change around the globe. That fellowship, and the ensuing adventures thereafter, showed me just how big a global movement parkour had become and how it had extended well beyond its European roots. Whether it was in the UK, where I watched young professionals come out of the office and they would leave their cubicles, leave their screens, leave the rat race, and overtake and reclaim brutal urban landscapes and make them into meccas of play, movement, and fun. Or it was in Chile, where I saw a group of kids come together and make a spot out of nowhere in the woods using nothing more than a saw, a hammer, a bag of nails, and a tangle of computer cables that they used to tie things together. This project showed me the impact parkour could have on people and how it was applicable anywhere, whether it was in the woods, in a city, or as in Brazil, where I helped with these projects to create parkour spots out of nothing in a backyard with a pile of donated curbstones, or a tower of abandoned tires filled with concrete. Or it was in Italy, where I saw ancient buildings incorporated into the parkour playscape. Or Denmark, where there were custom-built parkour parks, built with a degree of precision and care that met even the most stringent of planning board recommendations and requirements, and that long list of rules that it takes to build something in our cities. So what brings all these together is the element of play. Playing is something that we all do naturally, and then somehow, many of us lose this skill as we transition to adulthood. I myself found myself resistant to play until I started parkour. And then at some point, most practitioners will realize that the world becomes your playground. Parkour enables us to take off the blinders of modern society that limit our movement, that say, I can't jump down from here, or over that railing, or go this way on the street, because everybody else is going that way. Parkour enables us to explore our environment through play and through community, whether it's playing games like The Ground is Lava, which is a personal favorite, or playing with elements of our modern-day landscape, like a handicap ramp. In recent years, the accessibility of parkour has increased dramatically, with parkour schools, communities, events, and workshops cropping up around the globe. My goal in coming back to Boston 3 years ago was to bring parkour back to my hometown. And today in Somerville, we now teach in all of the public elementary schools, as well as numerous schools, community centers, rec centers, gyms, and even outdoor classes all over Boston. Parkour gives parents and administrators a safe and effective tool to get kids engaged with movement and inspired to move and want to move and to explore their environment in a safe and progressive way. It also allows us to tap into those from elite athletes to those who prefer to shy away from the traditional sports and who like to explore outside the lines. Of course, parkour is not just for kids, and adults should have fun with movement too. Our goal is to reinvent the way we think of fitness. Fitness should not be something that one slogs through each day on a treadmill or in a gym, being miserable. Fitness should be a state of mind. It should be something that we all want to do and are doing constantly in how we move throughout our lives. Parkour enables us to do this by making fitness fun, functional, and by bringing people together. Over the years, we've had thousands of people come through our workshops and events and classes, many of whom never expected to stay longer than that first time that they came with a friend or on a dare or after watching a YouTube video. And they keep coming back because parkour gives them something else. Parkour gives them more than just movement. It gives them community and fun and a way that they can help build themselves as a person instead of just as a figure. Bonnie started with us 3 years ago at the age of 59. She had been plagued for years by various injuries. The only thing she wanted was the ability to move again. She now trains with us 3 to 4 days a week and is a constant source of inspiration to our community through her tireless work ethic and her youthful demeanor. So, those of you that are thinking to do parkour or have never made that jump, make it. I promise it'll be fun. It's not dangerous, and you'll probably get something from it. You might even get stuck like I am and have a really cool job. All of you, as you leave these doors tonight, I want you to stop and reevaluate how you're going to go out into that world. Are you going to go and take the normal path and follow everybody else and go along the sidewalk the way society tells you to? Or are you going to go and make your own path and see what happens?